So for question 4, this is a really big question, 20 marks. You need to spend a good 25 minutes on this. It's a really important question and you've got to get it right. What we're looking at here is the writer's intentions. To what extent do you agree with an opinion on the story, where you really do have to think about what the writer was trying to achieve with the story and with the characters and with the plot. So if we look through the question then, focus this part of your question on the second half of the source from line 16 to the end. So it will give you in bold the bit that you need to focus on. But unlike question 2, it won't give you the extract in front of you. You do need to go back to the insert. So really do put a line through and really do focus on that bit of the text. And then it will have your statement, which you need to agree or disagree with. In this case, a student said, this part of the story, set during breakfast time, shows that Alex is struggling to cope with his mother's illness. To what extent do you agree? So you really do need to think about the story, think about what the writer wanted to achieve in this part of the story, and then think about the effect on the reader, which of course is yourself. They will get some indicators there from the exam board. So in your response, you could consider your own impressions of Alex, so the main character in the story. Evaluate how the writer shows that Alex is struggling to cope. So in that regards, it is actually kind of giving you a big indicator, because the student says, of course, in their quotation there, this part of the story during breakfast time shows that Alex is struggling to cope. They're kind of giving you an indicator that Alex is struggling to cope, so it will allow you to find some relevant parts of the information there. And it says you support your response with references to the text. That's quotations. You must get those in. So how to structure your response for this question? Make sure you make your point first, a key point from the story about the writer's intentions that directly answers the question. So for instance, on this one, Alex and his struggle to cope with his mother's illness. Make sure you get your quotation in. That backs up your point. Next thing is you may get a language term in. If there is a relevant language term, do feel free to quote from it and put that language term in. It could help with the examiner who's marking your paper really see that you've understood English language here. The key point next is to explain what the writer was intending to get across in the story. So you really do need to explain your point about how Alex is struggling to cope with his mother's illness, and really do focus on the effect of the reader and how you feel the information from the writer is coming through to you and how you can explain that in full. If we have a look at question 4, an example here that's been marked from a student's work for the exam board, the evidence here shows that Alex's first instinct is to be angry due to the adjective angry in the quotation. So you can see here the student has used a language term and they're starting to try and explain it a little bit. So in directly answering the question of Alex's emotions towards his mother at breakfast time. Then we have our quotation, even with his mother for getting sick. There's a direct quotation there, a relevant textual reference where the student has clearly selected a piece of information that they want to focus on and explore in a little bit more detail for the writer's intentions and the effect on the reader. So this shows that Alex appears to be struggling to cope with her illness as he is blaming even his mother, showing that Alex's character is one which needs a constant emotional outlet. He is always looking to blame others for what's happened, even his mother for her own illness. That's not a very nice thing to do, but what the writer has done is try to explain that Alex's emotions and behaviours are quite complicated here. And the writer, the student here, has picked up on that and tried to explain their point in full. So they haven't really developed it beyond that. They've made a statement, but they haven't gone further. So it's some response to the focus of the statement, but it will get rewarded in that level 3 for clear and relevant point there. If we go down a little bit further, I also agree because the text explicitly states that Alex misses his mother. And then that's the main point, and we have our quotation after that. He missed her easy laughter and her affection, even her discipline. So even if his mother was disciplining him, Alex was missing her, and he was missing that behaviour in the house. We have, again, our language feature there, the verb missed, and the writer there has tried to explain that point about what that word shows. So it shows that Alex wants his mother well again, and he cannot cope with her absence in the house. And then it goes to a bit further to explain that with more quotations and more development of the point. It's a clear evaluation. Alex wants nothing more than for things to return to how they were before. And he unleashes some anger and frustration on his brother and sister and father because of that. So he blames others and he uses anger as an outlet to say how much he's missing his mother. Clear and relevant response is your level 3, and that will be the level that helps you pass this paper.